and welcome to Fighters vs. the show where we compare the movesets of two different characters and at the end have these two characters showdown in battle. My name is Globku and today we pitch the robots against each other. It's Android 16 versus Android 18. These two are very different characters. In fact, the only thing that ties these two characters together is the fact that they're both androids designed for killing Goku. But while Android 16 thrives in close quarters battle with an array of free hugs, Android 18 is a mix-up artist, straight up an expert at opening up their opponent. 18 clearly has the upper hand when it comes to zoning, as Android 16 doesn't have any ranged attacks apart from his normal fireball attack, which is basically him shooting his hand at the opponent. Comparing that to 18's array of special attacks where she can not only throw normal ki blasts but also a destructo disc, and call in 17 to throw ki blasts for her, she has a lot more options at her disposal. Even when it comes to supers, 18 can teleport right above an opponent and shoot a huge ki blast, while all of 16's attacks are close range. So from a distance, Android 18 has a clear advantage.
Zoning, point Android 18.
Once again, 18 is a mix-up master. Android 16 is also a pretty good mix-up character, with various command grabs and very good animation priority on most of his specials, as well as his heavy attack, but 18 just has a lot more options. With the ability to call in 17 to support her, she's able to put on pressure on her opponent by simply calling out 17, and while 17 is putting on the pressure, 18 can look for a different angle to attack. Plus, she's also got a command grab in her arsenal. So even though 16 might be a good mix-up artist, 18 has him beat in this field, as she is currently one of the strongest mix-up characters in the roster.
Mix-up, point Android 18.
16's abilities were made to be chained together. His dynamite drive and power bombs synergize extremely well. His heavy attack has great animation priority, and it's an easy way to cause a wall bounce, allowing him to prolong combos, even while in the air, because most characters will actually knock the opponent back into the ground if you hit them with a heavy attack while in the air. But that's not the case with 16. His attack will actually cause a wall bounce even if he's in the air. On the other hand, 18 is pretty hard to perform combos with. She's definitely great at putting up pressure on your opponent, but as soon as they stop blocking, big combo chains are pretty tough to execute. Most Android 18 players will usually just perform a small combo and link that into her level 1 super, because her options are a bit limited. So as far as combos go, this one's a no-brainer for me.
Combos, point Android 16.
Now, thanks to popular demand, we've decided to also include the assist attacks in these videos. Since Dragon Ball FighterZ is a 3-on-3 game, the assist attacks also determine the value of having one of these characters on your team. While not very useful in a 1v1 situation, these videos are meant to showcase each character's strengths when compared to one another, so we can make it easier for you to decide which character to include in your roster. 16's assist attack is the Hell Heat, in which 16 shoots a ki blast downwards. Because of this ability's short range, I mostly see this as a defensive ability, something to be executed to punish a rushdown opponent who's constantly in your face. But it could also be used defensively from close range, especially if you're applying some corner pressure. This makes it easier to compare to 18's assist attack, which is the Barrier. This is also a defensive ability, but unlike 16's, it cannot be used defensively. 18's Barrier absorbs pretty much any attack and turns it into meter, and it's a great way to get some free meter to unleash some free supers. But while 18 will be protected and absorbing the attack when you call her in, you'll still need to block or dodge whatever it's coming, otherwise it will hit you, making this defensive ability something that's really only useful for getting some extra meter so you can spam some super attacks. Still, as a defensive ability, I would argue that 18's assist attack is better because it works even on ranged attacks and it turns every single attack into meter. But because you can use 16's ability offensively, although not to a great extent, I'm gonna give this one a tie for being too circumstantial.
Assist, tie.
Oh boy, supers. It's gonna be tough to compare them. On one hand, Android 16 has 3 close-range supers, and because most of his combos usually end in a power bomb, both his level 1 and level 3 Hell Flash can be linked directly at the end of a combo, always giving you the option to dish bigger or smaller damage depending on the amount of meter you want to spend. The problem is, they are always close-range abilities, so even though 16 is better at combos than 18, the combos are almost mandatory if you want to perform a super. And then we have his other level level 3 where 16 self-destructs and eliminates one of the opponents. And the problem with this ability isn't the fact that 16 is only left with 1 point of HP, because I found that usually not that hard to recover, either by using Sparking Blast or by swapping out that character. No, the problem is, it's impossible to land this once the opponent knows how to counter it. And it's not gonna be long before everyone figures out that all you have to do to avoid this attack is jump. Because the animation for activating this super is so long, it's almost impossible to land it unless you're playing against a total beginner. So despite this being a very powerful super, I almost don't even count it as part of 16's loadout anymore, given how hard it is to land. On the other hand, 18 doesn't have any problems landing her level 1 super. She teleports directly above the opponent and shoots a ki blast downwards. She can link it with pretty much anything she wants. Her level 3, however, is a bit tougher, because 18 travels in a straight line horizontally. That means she cannot link it into anything randomly. There's gotta be more thought behind it. It's not nearly as hard as connecting 16's self-destruct super, but at the same time, if you're at the end of a combo, this level 3 is not always an option, unlike 16's full power Hell Flash. So as far as supers go, I would argue that 18 has a better level 1 super, but 16 can more reliably hit with his level 3, bringing this category to another tie.
Supers time.
But now let's get to the fight. Because Dragon Ball FighterZ doesn't have a dedicated 1v1 game mode, we went into a fight, killed every character, and made sure that when the androids faced off, both characters had 7 bars of meter and Sparking Blasts still available. This is by no means science. It's meant to be entertaining, to give you guys a show, but I also picked an opponent around the same skill level as me, and we swapped characters after each match and discussed what we liked and disliked about using each character, trying to make it as fair as possible. But yes, the human element will always come into play. Enjoy the fights, folks.
もしもっと腕を上げることができたら、また相手になってやると言っておいてくれ。
The results surprised us both, and I think it was all a matter of speed. Android 18 was able to chain attacks a lot faster than 16, who ended up being countered most of the time, despite both of us being a lot more comfortable playing as Android 16. I think I've said it previously on this channel, Android 16 was one of my strongest characters during the beta. I was absolutely destroying when I played as Android 16, and Android 18 was one of my weakest characters. She's hard to master in my opinion, but somehow we both prevailed as Android 18, which gives us a clear winner.
Android 18! Win!
Thank you for watching another FighterZ versus, folks, and thank you once again for all the feedback you left on last week's episode. I'm glad you guys like the idea and I'm addressing the issues that you had with it. So if you have any further feedback, make sure to leave it in the comments down below. If you've missed last week's versus, Goku versus Vegeta, make sure you watch that because it's an epic showdown. You can watch it by clicking the video up there. If you're in the mood for something else, there's also the video at the bottom, but as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!